A lot has happened this last year.
It's Sissy's Soup.
Well, I thought today I'd give you an update. First off, if you don't already know, I was in hiding for almost a year. I told this story in a previous video. Link below. So, I was hiding from this sheik from Dubai, and I kept moving all over the country. I ended up in Recapture, Utah. Recapture, Utah. A lot more things happened too. Our mama passed last year, Bubba's and mine. Mama had Alzheimer's for quite a while, and Bubba was her main caregiver. She made it really clear right from the get-go that she wanted him to be the one that took care of her. It didn't hurt my feelings. They were always especially close. And pretty early on, she didn't even know who I was. It was disturbing. One day, I was over there and she looked at me and said, "Who are you?" That's not something you expect to hear from your mama ever. Before I could get my feelings hurt, though, she looked at me and smiled and said, "You have beautiful eyes." Mama was always sweet to people. Well, it like to killed Bubba trying to take care of her all by himself. I would go over at night when she was asleep and let him have some time off. Let him go out if he wanted to, but usually he just stayed home. He was exhausted. I hated it so much that Bubba had so much on his shoulders. I tried staying there myself several times, but she got really, really agitated, and I'd have to call Bubba to come back home. Finally, he just laughed it off and said, "Well, we tried." So I went over there every morning before she got up and had a cup of coffee with Bubba so he'd have somebody to talk to. This one time, she got up early, and when she saw me sitting there, she looked at the two of us and said, "Are you two going to get married?" That caught us off guard. Then she looked at Bubba and said, "You're still gay, aren't you?" Bubba just smiled. Finally, Mama let us hire this nice lady to come stay with her for a few hours every day, give her a bath and so forth, and that way Bubba could go to the store or the doctor or whatever he needed to do. But if Bubba was gone too long, Mama got really nervous, 3 or 4 hours tops. She never tried to wander off or anything like that. She did say some strange things, though. Bubba told me. He said she'd look out the window and say, "What is that brown thing?" Now, Mama's house sat on 3 acres, and there were lots of brown things out in the yard, sticks and leaves and all kind of stuff. So Bubba would say, "Honey, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to show me. Which brown thing?" And Mama would get really frustrated with him, and she would say, "For heaven's sakes, it's right there. Don't you see the brown thing?" Another time she told him, "There has to be 2 suns." Bubba misunderstood what she said, and he said, "Yes, Mama, that's right, you had 2 suns." She said, "No, no, no, 2 suns in the sky. There has to be 2 suns to cover the whole world." Well, it sort of made sense. You can't light a room with just 1 light bulb. As things started to progress, Mama started worrying about how she was going to get to heaven. She said it must be by airplane. How else could we get there? She made Bubba take her to the funeral home so she could ask them. She figured if anybody knew, they did. They didn't. She was so cute. She never got ugly or suspicious, but she wanted Bubba all the time. She finally had to go into assisted living about 1.5 years ago. It got to where she kept falling and Bubba didn't feel like he could keep her safe anymore. She went to a sweet place run by Filipino women. They treated her like a queen. Whatever she said, whatever she did, they thought it was wonderful. And they cooked delicious meals there too. It always smelled wonderful when you walked in the door. We're still friends with them. Then 1 year ago, right before Christmas, Momma passed away. Bubba had moved into the house where we grew up to take care of her, and after she died, he was ready to get out of there. Too many memories, I guess. I helped him get the house ready to sell. We had to sort through all the family things, of course. It was emotional, especially looking at the pictures. I found this caftan in one of the closets. I just couldn't bear to let it go. It's nice to remember my mama the way she used to be. She was a great lady. When we got the house cleared out and on the market, I sent Bubba to Atlanta. He has some really dear friends there, and they took really good care of him. Around the same time, things got sticky with the sheik, and I started moving around the country. Recapture Utah, I still can't. When I finally got the sheik straightened out, I called Bubba up and I said, "What do you want to do now, honey?" He said, "What did I think about the two of us living together?" Well, I was ecstatic. I love my brother. So I came up with this idea to give Sue Lynn my house on the river. And I could have a custom home built for Bubba and me. I have the money to build anything I want. Bubba loved that idea, so I put him in charge of the design. He said he needed something to do. He'll make it fabulous. Trust me. Sue Lynn was thrilled about the house. She's always loved it. She cried and cried when I told her, and little Sammy jumped up and down. I also set up a trust fund for Sue Lynn and Sammy. She's earned it. And she doesn't know it yet, but I'm also going to buy her a beauty salon of her very own. I think I'll get a smart retired person to be her business manager. I think that'll work out. Mr. Garcia and I are taking a break. It got to the point where every time we were together, his mama would call over and over and over. And one night, when he didn't pick up, she called 911 and had herself taken to the hospital. She was fine. It was tearing him up, though. If you care about somebody, you can't stand to see them suffer. So I just told him, "She's bound to die sooner or later. Let's just wait until it's not such a hassle to get together. This is tearing you apart." I think he was relieved. But while I was in hiding, I snuck back into town to visit him several times. We didn't say anything to anybody. Not even his secretary knew where he was. Honestly, it made it so exciting. I might just marry that man someday. Who knows? Mr. Garcia has also been advising me about the management of my rather large fortune. It's just too much for one person to handle. 9 figures. One thing I'm doing is acquiring properties in several cities, New York, Atlanta, New Orleans. And I'm thinking about purchasing an apartment in Paris. Wouldn't that be lovely? Bubba and I can use them whenever we want to. I also set up a trust fund for Bubba. He was already my beneficiary, but now he has his own money. It's a good thing. And I'm setting up a charitable trust too. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet. Oh yes, Philip and Martine got married. It was fabulous, but that's a story for another day. I have to get ready. Bubba and I are going out to eat at Eulalie. So, bad as I hate to, I have to say, it's good to quit talking to you. Now go do something else. Go on. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.